Hi, kids. We are going to be learning how to write powerful rock sentences. So, we're going to practice writing and editing our sentence to become more powerful. So, the strategies that we're going to be using to help us make them more powerful is our 5 W's that we've been practicing: the who, what, when, where, and why. So, we're going to stretch our sentences using some or all of the 5 W's. We're also going to be looking at our triple scoop words. So we're going to take those adjectives or describing words and make them triple scoop words to make your sentences more powerful. We will also look at the verbs, which are our action words, so all the doing words in our sentences, and make them more powerful. And finally, we're going to use something called the traffic light editing system that will include arms editing. So we're going to use the colors red, yellow, and green to edit our sentences. And a lot of this writing is going to be about the editing. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to write 5 sentences about a rock. And you are going to try and use the 5 W's as much as you can. So I've already written 5 sentences here, or I've written some sentences here, trying to use some of these 5 W words. So a jagged rock poked out from under the path as I wandered with my friend through the forest. I stopped, brushed off the dirt, and saw some bumps. It was a fossil. My friend took the rock and looked at it carefully. She could see the shape of a seashell there on the surface of the rock. What an adventure. So, those are some of the sentences I started with, keeping in mind the 5 W's. And so, what you can do is put a check mark next to the 5 W's you used in your sentence. So, you don't need to use all of them. So I've already gone ahead and done that because this is actually my second time trying to record this video. Apparently, the last time I recorded all the pauses and none of the video. So, um, what I did is I dragged these down from over here. And so I will make sure there are some check marks for you to drag on your copy. And as I read, so a jagged rock poked out from under the path. So I've got the what, which is my rock. So I put my check mark there. Under the path is where. So I put my first check mark here. As I wandered with my friend, so who. So I can bring that check mark back and put it down here. And now I have the who. And I continued through my sentences and put in some check marks. And I realized I don't have any when, the why, or how. So there's no reason for me walking along here at this point in my writing. So once you've written your 5 sentences, keeping in mind or written your sentences, keeping in mind the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, and how, you are now going to go on to some of that traffic light editing. So the next slides are all going to be yellow. They're going to be the yellow part of our traffic light. So the red part is our punctuation, exclamation marks, periods. Um, then the green part is the start of our sentences, just like at a traffic light. Green means go. So, how do our sentences start? With capital letters. And then you're going to look for capital letters within there. Now, this yellow part is going to use the arms. So, this is where we add detail, transitions. This is where we might remove words that don't make sense, words that are boring. We might move sentences around to make them sound better or substitute, change one word for another. So get rid of the boring words and add some interesting words in there. We're mostly going to be adding and substituting in this next few slides. So, you have done lots of work on your triple scoop words, and in your Jamboards, you actually did some of them. You did big. I think nice was in there as well. And you came up using your thesaurus. You came up with some synonyms, some triple scoop words to replace these ones. So for this part of our work, we are going to add, remove, move, or swap an adjective, a describing word, with two or three more interesting words. So when we do this work, what I would like you to actually do is take this initial sentence, or these first sentences that you wrote. I would like you to, whoops, I accidentally moved this over. I would like you to highlight, copy, and then go to the last slide and paste it in. Now, you're going to see that I've done some work on this already because, like I said, I accidentally made a video of all the pauses. So, in those pauses, I did some of the work already. So, I've copied and pasted it in here. And then I can go in and look for those describing words and make some changes, remove them, or even add in if there are some things that I think could use some lovely description using triple scoop words. So, what I did is I read over here again and I thought, a jagged rock poked out from under the path. I thought I could maybe add one of those triple scoop words to describe path. So I went down here and I chose dusty path in here. So if you come up with your first describing word, you may want to go into a thesaurus site or synonym site, and you can click on, let's see, we can go in here, and we can look up the word, for example, dusty, and there's lots of other, it could be dirty, it could be a crumbly, chalky, and you could choose some better words if you'd like as well to make them really triple scoop. The other triple scoop word that I picked when I read through here was I thought friend. Friend could use some triple scoop describing word, an adjective. So, what kind of friend? And so I went in and I thought, maybe it's a best friend. And so I typed in here, I typed best friend. And then there were a bunch of words that came up. And one of them I really liked was bosom buddy. So I went back in and I uh, made changes to friend and I added bosom buddy. And you'll notice that I highlighted this in yellow because I'm using the yellow part of my stoplight. So this is all of the adding and changing work, and I want to keep track of what I've been doing to my writing as I go. Um, I also, oh, I also thought that I could describe forest, and so I decided, well, when I did my five W's, I didn't have any when, so I thought I could make it an evening time, so I added the word moonlit to describe my forest. Moonlit shows that when it was happening, it's going to happen in the evening, and it's a nice triple scoop word that I could add in there. So after you have added all your triple scoop words in, then you're going to go and work on your action words. So these are all the words that are doing words in your sentences. And so I read through my work and I picked some of the adjectives, or sorry, some of the action words from my work. So I've got poked, wandered, took, saw, looked. And then I can add, remove, move, or swap two of my verbs from above with more relevant words from a verb list. Now, there is going to be a verb list attached that you can look at, but you are also able to use your synonyms and write in these words, just like we did with the previous triple scoop words, and that will give you lots of different ways to say these verbs. So I went in and I chose saw and looked from my writing. So I stopped, brushed off, and saw some bumps. And then my friend took the rock and looked at it carefully. And I wrote those ones in. And then I looked up some other words for saw, some other words for looked, and decided on inspected and spotted. And so I went into my text and I included inspected and replaced my other word. So I highlighted that one and I was, and I added in spotted instead of saw some bumps. So much more exciting. I then go to the synonyms, so words that mean the same thing. And we've done, like I said, lots of work on synonyms earlier. So we're going to pick two boring words from your sentences and write them in the top green and orange box. So I chose from there, I chose rock because I used rock so many times in that. I thought maybe I need another word for rock. And I chose shape as well. So then I'm going to go in and look for synonyms of rock or shape. So I go in here and, oops, I'm going to add rock. And that's going to be, yeah, like a stone. Oh, so I could actually use stone here. There's other words as well. A slab, possibly. I don't think it's so small as it's a pebble. Um, Not really some rubble because she's passing it. So I think I'm going to go with stone here. So I'm going to go back in and synonym number one, I can put stone. Oops. And synonym number two could have been rubble. And of course, I'm going to pick stone for that one. And next, I'm going to look up another word for shape. So I'm going to go in here, get rid of these ads, and I'm going to write in the word shape. I saw the shape. Form. Ooh, configure the contours. Those are the outlines. That's great. Or a silhouette. I think I like form and contour. So I'm going to add those in as some possible synonyms. And I do want you to write in more than one so that I can see that you're being thoughtful and making your choices around that. Contours. Did I spell that right? I'm going to double check. Spelling is not my forte, so I definitely have to check when I do these things. There it is, Contour. Yep, so I got my contours. Now I'm going to go into my piece of writing and I'm going to replace one of my rocks with rubble or with stone and my shape with contours. So here I go in and we've got rock. I'm going to replace that with stone and highlight it in yellow because I've added this in. And I'm going to replace shape. she could see the shape of a seashell. So instead of shape, she could see the contours, and I'll highlight that, of the seashell, of a seashell. Okay, so I've gone in and done my triple scoop, my verbs, and now I am on to traffic light editing. So this part, I've done uh, most of the yellow using my arms, adding, removing, moving, and substituting. Now I'm going to look for any capitals that I need to change. Am I missing any capital letters for go? And also my punctuation. Did I put all of my periods in, or is an exclamation mark better? And I will go through and read this again, and I can see, oh yeah, I've got my capital A, so that's all good. And as I'm reading, I notice a jagged rock poked out from under the dusty path as I wandered with my bosom buddy through the moonlit forest. That was a big mouthful. So part of punctuation is a comma as well. I'm going to see if I can figure out where should that pause go so I can take a breath. A jagged rock poked out from under the dusty path as I wandered with my bosom buddy through the moonlit forest. I'm going to put my comma, well, it's hard to see with this underneath here, right after path. I stopped, brushed off the dirt, and spotted some bumps. It was a fossil. Yes, I put an exclamation mark, so I don't need to make any changes there. So you would continue to read, and then what you're going to find is after doing all of these slides, your first sentence compared to your last sentence is going to be so much more powerful. So, your five sentences that you write, or your not five sentences, I keep saying that instead of five W's, sentences are going to be about a rock. So that can be one of the rocks that you found. That can be a rock that you have at home already that's special to you. Maybe it's a rock that you got from somewhere where you traveled, and write a few sentences about it. And I would suggest five, just like 5W, and then keeping in mind those five W's as you write your first time. And then you're going to add all of that detail and do all of that wonderful editing work and come up with a final copy that has all the changes that you made highlighted in it. So good luck, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.